We got a legend in the house, man. I can't thank enough for popping in here.
Oh, yeah.
Wisconsin legend, NFL legend. I got to ask him about, because I want to know if he's really born and raised in the middle of McPherson, Kansas. I got to ask him that.
Let's bring him in there.
But our main man, Wisconsin Badger legend, Montee Ball joins the show.
Yeah.
What's up, brother?
Fellas, what's going on?
Hey, you from McPherson, Kansas, man?
Dude, I tell you what, I am. Technically, I am, but I will share this really quickly. So excuse me, I lived there for only 2 years of my life, right? Only lived there for 2 years of my life. The other 16 years of those, my years till age 18 was in Missouri, of course, before I took off to the good old Badger state of Wisconsin, baby.
Hey, so that's because I only wanted to bring it full circle was because obviously coaching there and playing there and everything in the state. I got to ask you, like, there's a lot of so if I was recruiting the country, Kansas is probably third on the list to stay away from. It's probably the Dakotas, Idaho, and then Kansas, maybe my Montana. So I'm not recruiting those states. But for running backs, fuck, Kansas has some of the, people don't realize how many NFL backs are out of the state of Kansas.
Kansas is slept on. It's slept on. It truly is. I mean, I understand you hear about it. It's flat, tornadoes, et cetera, et cetera. But those cats know how to play some football out there. It's humid. Them 2-a-days are brutal. I mean, obviously, I didn't have the opportunity to play there in high school and stuff. But going back to visit family, I'm like, okay, yeah, there's some talent here for sure.
No doubt. Man, we can't thank you enough, man. Big Smitty's in the house. He works over at Fox. Can't thank you enough for popping in here. I got to ask you a question right out the gate, man. Back in your Wisconsin days. You play with a loaded backfield, man. You had I think they called it the three-headed monster at the time. What was it like playing with, having a John Clay ahead of you? He goes down, I believe, got hurt with an ankle. You come in, lead the team in rushing touchdowns, and then the rest is kind of history after that. And then Melvin Gordon comes.
James White, right?
James White, yeah.
That's right.
Wisconsin was known to have him, obviously, from the Ron Dane days and shit. Look at Jonathan Smith out in Smitty's team. Running back you for a lot of people will say running back you in a lot of ways, man, especially from mid-90s throughout. Where you at with that whole discussion?
Absolutely. Well, I to start off on the we are RBU. Wisconsin is RBU. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again with all the conviction, every fiber in my body. We are RBU, right? We can go back, like we said, Ron Dane, of course, right? Brian Calhoun, Anthony Davis, John Clay, myself, Melvin Gordon, James White, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, we keep them coming, baby. We got that pipeline strong. And as we all know, right, Jonathan Taylor, of course, is the running back that has translated the best, right, to the NFL. This guy is next level. But we are RBU. That is who we are. And so, yeah, it was honestly quite a dream. It was very fortunate for myself, of course, a blessing, I should say, right, to play with these guys that helped me, right, to improve my game, because I knew, hey, if I don't perform, there's a cat right behind me that will take my spot in a second, right, and produce just as well. And so when I did get my opportunity, of course, to step up, right, it was the Iowa game, an away game, sophomore year in 2010, still wasn't playing that much, right? Unfortunately, John Clay got injured. And then James White got injured, right? And again, he was a freshman this year. He went on to rush for 1,000 yards that season. But long story short, running back coach turns around and looks at me and is like, it's time to shut up or put up. That was exactly what he said to me. Shut up or put up. And I stayed in and never gave the position back.
You put up, man. It's crazy you mentioned those times. So I remember, I think it was 2011, if I'm not mistaken. I'm in my senior year in high school, and I think Purdue. So I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. I think Purdue was softly recruiting me. It was like an unofficial visit, and I think I came to a game. If I'm not mistaken, you guys played Purdue at Purdue 2011. If I'm not mistaken, I remember I came to a game, and I just remember watching, like, again, Mel and James White. I just remember like that backfield though, and I'm just thinking like, man, this is incredible. When you look at the game today and how NIL, transfer portal, etc., do you think we'll ever see a team with a backfield loaded like that, or if guys are like that, they're probably just going to transfer immediately?
See, I tell you what, man, I absolutely love that question because I have a straightforward answer to it. No, I don't think so. I don't think so based on the trajectory right now of how NIL is going, or NIL and the transfer portal is going. And because we see cats all the time, right? They're jumping ship in a heartbeat. And then the recruiting is year round. It's competitive. We got teams that are not wanting to do their spring games because it's just that competitive. So no, I honestly believe that we will not see, I'm biased, of course, but we will not see a backfield like that ever again because, a third stringer, who knows if I would have left or stayed, right? I don't want to sit here and lie to your face and say, oh, I would have stayed because I want to work hard for it, which that is most likely the case. But, I don't live in that world, right? I never lived in that world of NIL and the transfer portal where you can, because when I was playing, of course, you had to sit for a year or 2 years.
Yeah, so you had to sit a year. Even when I'm a little younger than you. Even when I played at Ball State, you had to sit a year. And that was a big thing as a player. Like, man, I don't know if I might as well just stay. I might as well stay and figure it out.
Exactly. And so that's why I love that question, because I always try to place myself in that situation. Would I have left? No, I would say no, but then again, I don't know, right? It's like you don't know, especially if they're talking, hey, we'll pay you this to come over here too. That changes things.
Right.
that was my question. Like to piggyback on that and throw like another hypothetical. If somebody says, hey, you're third string right now, and Michigan State says we need a back, and here's $1 million. We don't know, right? I think all three of us in our family situation at the time or whatever, we might be like,
I'm gone. I ain't gonna lie.
Exactly. And that's the thing. As much as I love the Badgers, right? I love the program. I will always be a fan of the program. But you say $500K to come over here and play right now, or even $50K, right?
Back then,
19, 20 years old. It's like, my family would have been like, hey, Montee.
Hey, Montee, let me ask you, though. There's a difference. That W behind your head right now, does that hold weight? If that hypothetical were to switch now, are you gonna have a MSU sign behind you, a W sign behind you, a
Miami sign?
Like how much does that change the landscape of the academic side of these kids, which is we're gonna get into later, but like, to me, there's no more loyalty to anything, even your word and your commitment to, we were just talking about apologizing. And I said, apologies to me mean nothing. I already did it and said it. And I said, I just got to admit I was wrong. Apologizing for it means nothing. The same with this to me. Like, it's your own commitment, right? Like, I committed to something. And for me, there is no such word as decommitment, by the way. So I hate when I see these kids. I don't hate anything. When I see these kids say, oh, I'm decommitting from, well, it's not even a word. You can't decommit from your wife. so you committed to the relationship, or you didn't. And I just think that we're losing that in this era. Like, we don't have, I just can't wait for 10 years and I see a kid with 5 schools behind them on their wall. Like, where'd you graduate from, dog? Like, what boosters are you going to help get you a job later in life? What alumni? Yeah,
that's a really good point. So to the first part, the first question, it's difficult, of course, right? Because obviously we know where I went. I've made my decision. I stayed there, of course.
Sure.
But if I were to be back in that time, and of course, if money was being thrown at me, I'm not going to sit here. I wouldn't even lie to the athletic director right now at Wisconsin and say I would have stayed. Money changes many things, right? And so many decisions as well. So I probably would have had another sign behind me. For sure, because I was third string, right? I didn't play when we played against Ohio State when we were ranked. They were ranked number 1 in the country in 2010, and we beat them at Camp Randall. I didn't play one single snap that game. And I actually was thinking about at that time of transitioning to linebacker, because I have experience playing linebacker as well. And so again, I already had those thoughts of jumping to the other side of the ball. And so it may have changed things. So I probably would have had another sign behind me, but thank goodness I don't. Now to the other point that you made, Yeah, that's unfortunate right now. That loyalty is gone. It's the amateurism is being stripped away quickly from the sport, and these guys unfortunately don't understand that. For someone like myself, right, there's no secret as to I struggled, of course, right? We don't have to get into it, but that did happen. And guess what I leaned on when that happened? Alumni. The Badgers, right?
Yeah.
They helped me. They helped to pick me off the ground, right? They were like, hey, we got your back. We got your back. Let's get you into treatment. Let's get you right. And some of these cats may not have that because they don't have that camaraderie, right? If they're jumping ship every year.
Nah, great point. I appreciate you sharing that, man.
Yeah.
That takes a lot. A lot of folks don't realize that. So yeah, that's a great point. Like that's why we at Smitty and I talk about it all the time with guests. We're like, man, there's no more like diploma or degree or any of that stuff mattering anymore when we're at 4 and 5 schools. There's a kid entering his 7th school this year to me. And I'm just like, come on, man, that ain't teaching these kids. That ain't teaching nothing. That you staying there and alumni reaching out taught you something.
Yeah.
I don't, if you ran from that, now you still could be running. You can knock on wood, you're not. You still could be running. So I don't know. And
that's the thing as well too. And again, I don't, I'm not here to. And I'm not saying any of us are doing that, but of course, I would never tell a family and a kid that they shouldn't, right? I don't know your financial situation. I don't know if you want to be on that side of the country, whatever, right? There's many things I don't know, but to your point, it's that work for it, right?
Right.
Work for it. And that's one thing that I'm glad that I did. And of course I take that with me for the rest of my life, right? I was not satisfied with the way that I was playing. I was not satisfied with where I was at on the depth chart. And I had to look myself in the mirror and freaking work for it, right?
No doubt.
I had to grind for it. I had to figure out more ways to suffer, right? Because when you suffer, you gain things, right? That's what it is, right? Who can suffer the best, the most, right? And still keep their head held high, right? Because the rewards are coming. The rewards.
Smitty, one thing, Smitty, I got to piggyback. Like that's the greatest thing I've heard because here's what I say all the time. Like we're so quick to jump ship, and what I've seen, and I got 20 something playing in the league right now, and I see what I talk to him about all the time. I'm like, if you would have left, and the guy got hurt as he did, and you were in the portal, and that kid went down, and now they go into the portal and get another kid when you could have been on the roster and stepped right in and played.
Right.
Does Montee Ball run for 1,900 yards and break a Big Ten record?
Right. We don't know.
Like, do you get do these kids understand? Like the kids don't get it, man. Like there's an opportunity for everybody. If you're the guy, you're going to be the guy regardless, and it's going to happen. And it's just going to take some tough skins, getting through some trials and tribulations, and all those things. These kids are so quick to jump ship now, and you'll never see the 1,900-yard season. So, like, that's all I'm saying. I love that take. To piggyback on that, Ashton Genty, your name was in all these books all year long, and Ashton Genty was chasing, obviously, Barry Sanders, and then Montee Ball was in that discussion, breaking your record and all these things. Where you at with that record, and where you at with Ashton Genty's performance this year in college at a place like Boise?
Absolutely. So I had the opportunity, of course, to call out the Broncos draft pick. And once I got to the hotel, right, I was at the same hotel as the draft prospects, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, where is he at? I literally, as soon as I checked in, I was like, where is he at? I need to talk with this guy. And had the opportunity, of course, to chop it up with him. And a wonderful guy, seriously, great head on the shoulders, family-oriented as well. And, of course, I think that just shows as well of his commitment, right, as what we're talking about, his commitment to, his family, et cetera, off the field. But of course, we saw that on the field. And so for me, I had the opportunity to chat with him. And of course, we talked about the record and stuff. And I was like, dude, if there was anybody that deserved it, it was you for sure, how well you ran. And so I love the way that he performed right at Boise State. No secret to what he did. I was watching every single week, of course, and I truly was rooting for him to get the record. And my friends joke with me and say, no, you weren't. No, I really was. I really was, because he deserved it. And so the Raiders got themselves a good one.
And Smitty,
no, you're good.
Last thing, I got to ask you, Cam Newton and I both agree he should have won the Heisman.
Yes.
There's no question about it, in my opinion.
That trophy.
Should you have won the Heisman?
Yes, I should have. And I say that, and I'm a humble guy. All my interviews, you'll see I'm a humble guy, but I'm being real. I should have won that trophy. I had 2,000 plus yards from the line of scrimmage, 39 touchdowns, and a Big Ten champ. So we're champions of a Power 5 conference as well. What else can I do? What else can I do? And no shade at all to RG3, of course, right? Great dude. He had a phenomenal season as well. But again, running backs don't get the praise they deserve because Melvin Gordon should have won the Heisman as well. 2,500 yards in one season, 30 plus touchdowns, finished second. Come on. Ashton Genty. I mean, you're not going to see running backs put up stats like this. Well, myself plus the others I just named, those are anomalies, right? Those are outliers when it comes to having phenomenal seasons. You're not going to really see that again. So what more do you need to see from a running back for that trophy?
Yeah.
Come on.
That is true. And I feel like in your case, quarterbacks are always going to get like the extra points or whatever you want to call it just for being a quarterback, right? And again, like they're not taking nothing away from RG3, of course, but just beyond him, just in general, if a quarterback has a great season and a running back has a great season, even if their running back's individual season was greater, the quarterbacks don't probably get that nod because, again, we understand quarterback is probably the most important position on the field. We can all admit and agree to that. But when it comes to Heisman, though, it's supposed to be the best player. Forget everything else. His best player.
You want to know what the craziest part about it all, too, is? And again, I don't lose sleep about this anymore, fellas, but the season that we just talked about, my 2011 season with Russell Wilson, 2,000 plus yards from line of scrimmage, 39 touchdowns, Big Ten champ. I didn't even win the Doak Walker Award that year.
Woo! Who won it that year?
Trent Richardson.
T-Rich. Now, Trent Richardson is a friend of the show. He comes on the show during NFL.
He's a great dude. We follow
I know. I'm just throwing it out there. I hear you.
Yeah, zero bad blood there. Literally, we follow each other on social media. He's a great guy. But we're both competitors, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even win the best running back award that year.
I'm calling T-Rich right after that.
Was the stat line close or was it?
I think he only had, not only, but he had 18 touchdowns and about 1,700 rushing yards.
Ooh, some little SEC bias there, maybe?
Has to be. But no shade at all to T-Rich. Great dude, by the way. And he knows that, too. He knows I'm a follower of his.
Yeah, it's all love. He's
as well.
True, yeah.
But I was like, I didn't even win the running back award this year.
Dang, that is a little slap in the face, though, JB. Man. Let me ask you this, man. Kind of, I want to talk about the transition. You mentioned earlier, you said that Jonathan Taylor has had probably the best transition from Wisconsin to the NFL. Let me ask you this: what's the hardest part about that transition of being an all-time player, a great in college, and then finding your way in the NFL?
Yeah, just really quickly, I think to speak on my situation, I should have left my junior year. I stayed for my senior year, which was a mistake. I can say that now. I put more miles on my body. We go to the NFL, I tore my groin year 2, and my legs were like, we're done. So Jonathan Taylor, although he had 6,000 rushing yards, unbelievable in 3 seasons, right, at Wisconsin. For one, he does such a better job of taking care of his body. And 2, I think also he fell in the right system, right? So again, I'm not saying the other players are not taking care of their bodies, but I really watched him closely. Yeah. And, the proof's in the pudding, right? I mean, this guy, of course, he suffered an injury in the NFL, which every player does, but he hit the ground running day 1 when he got to the Colts, right? And so that's all of us running backs. Of course, we were just with each other. And again, we're all still competitors, but we, of course, will state the obvious where it's like, all right, JT, you most definitely are that guy, that's come from Wisconsin as a running back that's literally putting up some great stats. I mean, he's going to be a Colts Hall of Famer for sure. NFL Hall of Fame, we'll see, but he's for sure going to be a Colts Hall of Famer.
Ring of honor. No, for sure, man. For sure. Another teammate of yours, or you mentioned loosely here, was Russell Wilson. Talk about, I guess, what it was like, playing alongside him, in Wisconsin. And then also, secondly, kind of expectations for him, as he's, with the Giants now. Yeah,
that's right. I mean, when this cat came in, right, we it was during the offseason, obviously, and we're like, hey, we're about to land this quarterback from NC State. He's got another year of eligibility. I'm like, what are we talking about? I'm like, I'm the guy. What are we talking about? I'm like, what's all
good? Just hand me the ball. We're good to go.
I'm like, what's all this media around this guy for? All jokingly, of course, but long story short, he comes in, we're all the guys in the locker room are watching this tape on YouTube. I'm like, all right, this guy can move and he can throw. He's got some arm strength to him. He comes in, man, and I mean, this guy like a robot, and I say that in the nicest way because as soon as he came in, he had the flashcards going right for the playbook. He was literally there super early in the morning, and truly, as cliche as it sounds, he was the last one to leave. He wanted to make a point, of course, but obviously he was still taking the time to watch more film. And that showed immediately. Once we had our first practice leading into training camp, I think we had like a little off, whatever we had. We had this, we watched him throw the football and we were like, okay, yeah, we got a legitimate chance this year, a legitimate shot at the ship this year. And unfortunately, we go into the year, we get knocked out of the championship, of course, the Natty from a Hail Mary by Kirk Cousins, Michigan State.
Oh, yeah, that was that game.
And then the following week, Braxton Miller, Hail Mary, Ohio State. Looking at our DBs like, fellas, it's a team sport. But I'm like, gosh,
get the ball down.
But it was an honor, literally an honor to play alongside him because not only did he teach me, of course, about how to carry yourself on the football field, but obviously how do you carry yourself off the football field, a true professional, right? And then now with him being with the Giants, we'll see, right? Yeah. That organization's got a lot of work to do from top to bottom, every single person involved, of course, because we all saw what happened with Saquon and Daniel Jones, that decision-making process there. But I do think he has a legitimate shot. No matter what, there's still a lot of gas in his tank. I truly believe that.
Let me ask you, what year were you when he transferred there?
Yeah, he transferred to Wisconsin in 2011.
And then you were what?
Junior?
Junior. Yeah, I was a junior. Yep.
So that was like the first real kind of like transfer portal, so to speak, grad transfer movement that we started to see. Was that news? Like, was that like kind of like a big deal? I remember I was at your guys' practice when you were practicing to play Oregon. Out here in Carson at the Home Depot Center. I was there. I was coaching in the thick of things. So I was at the practice. Yeah. And it's crazy how time flies. And Russell was out there and we were watching him, warm up and do other things. And we were all talking about that specific thing. Like it was like crazy at that time.
Right.
Now it's full circle. Cats are transferring. It was one quarterback, USC kid, I think he's been to like 6 schools. But was that a big news thing then?
It was. And his story is just a little bit more different because he was drafted to play for the Rockies, right?
Oh, yeah.
In baseball. So right out here in Colorado, he was drafted to play, but decided to obviously, not go in that direction and go the football route. So again, it was just a lot of we were reading and seeing a lot during the time when he was transitioning or transferring over to us. But it was big news, right? Because he had some things, I guess, going on between him and NC State and didn't obviously want to, forego, I guess, or rather use his extra year of eligibility there. He wanted to leave and come to Wisconsin. And so we were blessed. Honestly, we needed a quarterback. And as the program goes, we continue to say we need a quarterback like Russell Wilson, but I think for the end of time, he will remain an anomaly. For Wisconsin program, that style of a quarterback. It's hard to recruit that type, right? It's difficult. We don't have receivers to get that quarterback. We don't have the quarterback to get the receivers. And so it's like it's challenging. It is.
Do you have, before you go, man, again, thank you so much for hopping on here. Do you have any good Peyton Manning stories at all with Tom Marco? I'm a Colts fan from Indianapolis. That's my GOAT. So any stories stick out?
I do, man. Real quick before I get to that, I just want to say, man, thank you both for as soon as the text came through, I was like, absolutely.
Appreciate it.
It's truly an honor. I really mean that.
Appreciate it.
As for Peyton, my goodness, man. I mean, I grew up a Broncos fan my whole life. Yes, he's a Colts. He's a Colt, but also a Bronco as well. But it was a dream come true, right? For me to literally play for my favorite team. And so once I got drafted, literally later that night, I got this long text, you're going to help us win a championship. So glad that we got you, yada, yada, yada. And at the end, it said Peyton Manning. I was like, ooh. I was like, Shaun, dude, Peyton Manning just texted me. I was like, I was playing him in a video game when I was like 12.
Right.
Crazy stuff. But the story I got for you real quick about him is, as we all see, we see a different side of him, right, on his SNL skits.
Yeah.
And so we would see that side of him all the time in the locker room. There was a switch, of course, as soon as we walked out of that locker room onto the practice field. It was the sheriff, but a really quick joke that he would do all the time, and he got me pretty good. Him and Wes Welker, actually. Okay. So I come in from practice, all the regular routine, what guys do, right? We sit by a locker, we still got our shoulder pads on and stuff, and looking at our cell phones, right? Catching up on texts, et cetera, et cetera. All of a sudden, I see Wes Welker and him snickering, like some schoolgirls in the corner, like just snickering and laughing and looking at me, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? What's going on? They're like, turn around. So I turn around, and right here, there are some panties in my locker. And there was a brown, streak in the middle of
what?
It was Hershey's that they used, but again, when I turned around, it was like that close to my face because my cell phone was, for some reason I didn't see it, but long story short, I turn around and it's right there, and those two were just cracking jokes, laughing, and they got somebody else. But I mean, other than that, there are some other stories that we can share offline, but
I get it. I know.
That's Peyton Manning though, man. That's, come on now, right? Getting drafted and playing side by side with Peyton in a Super Bowl, there's nothing like it.
Let me ask you something real quick. Like, what do you see so far, like the game, like compared to like your first introduction to the NFL? You get in there. Yeah. I think your debut was like an 8-carry night, and you blow out the Ravens. What's the biggest difference you see nowadays with the running back position? And then what is it like, just far as like the rigor and what are you blocking and every down backs and all the different things that you've seen, and then kind of the decline, right? Like we see that we're drafting we're drafting rookies, we're not paying them, we let them go, we'll draft a new rookie. It was different back in your era. Kind of, they wanted a guy that's 300 carries a year type of guy. What's changed in your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, you fellas get it, right? Back then, of course, one thing that rookies, of course, got to understand is D linemen are very fast in the NFL. That position, in my opinion, other than quarterback, of course, but that position for sure, you see the biggest jump in athleticism. Like, it's unbelievable. From D-line in college to D-line in the NFL, these cats are running 4.5s and 4.6s in the NFL at D-line. Unreal speed. And so for me, that was a challenge, of course, going from a power style offense to a zone offense, but now also having these speedster D linemen, right?
Yeah.
In a zone offense, right? Trying to go against them in a zone scheme. So